So we have some Oscar news. Some huge changes were just announced, not only for this year's ceremony, but going forward. What's the news? Let's talk about it. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the blank wall behind me. We're doing some spring cleaning, so here's where I am. But there have been some major changes announced for this year's Oscar ceremony, and you guys know me. I love talking Oscars, but this has been a strange year. How are they going to go about the ceremony? Are they changing things? Are they changing the date? Let's dive in. So, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences had a virtual meeting, and they have approved changes officially in the way that movies will be eligible for the 93rd Annual Academy Awards, including lightening eligibility requirements for films debuting on streamers and VOD. We also have some changes for some categories, including broadening eligible voters in the international movie nominating process. And I think the most dramatic change going forward is they are officially combining sound mixing and sound editing into one sound category. These are some dramatic changes. Now, we knew that things would have to change this year just because of what's been happening, right? And on top of all of that, this is the final year that physical DVD screeners are allowed, as the Academy will move into the digital frontier with their own screening platform for voting members. So from here on out, it's digital. This is the last year they're doing DVD screeners. I also want to point out that there have been rumors as of late that the Academy Awards could possibly be canceled because of the lack of movies this year. The release date is firmly in place to take place on the 28th of February, 2021, so no changes in that regard, but they are changing the way they go about doing this, and to me, this is the right way to do it. So eligibility rules for films opening on streaming services and on demand are being altered to say that they are now allowing those films to qualifying even if they're not appearing in the standard 7-day theatrical qualifying run. So prior to this year, you had to be in theaters for at least 7 days. This year, if you were on track to be a theatrical release, and at some point that was an option, even if you're appearing on digital platforms first, and you never get to be in theaters, you are now allowed to qualify for all of the awards in the Oscar ceremony. And this is going to affect numerous films, not only on Netflix and Amazon, but you have movies like Trolls World Tour and the upcoming June 12th date for Judd Apatow's The King of Staten Island, which is one I was looking forward to. A movie like Bleecker Street's Military Wives that just announced today that they are switching from theatrical to Hulu and on demand, which will be May 22nd. These are films that could have qualified and may qualify for the Oscar race, but there was that fear there of, okay, well, they're not going to be in theaters. Does that mean they're going to count? But this answers that question, yes. Now, according to Deadline, after theaters are reopened, any new releases will revert to the previous standard of 7 days in theaters to qualify, and at least 3 shows daily during that time. So these rules will be set in stone once again when things begin to change, but we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how long movies will be having to switch from theaters to streaming, from theaters to on-demand. It could be months. It really could. Now, the other major change is separate from that. Is it a new stunt category? Because I've been wanting that for quite a while. No. But at the request of the sound branch itself, the current sound mixing and sound editing categories are being combined into one. So instead of 24 Oscars, there will now be 23. Okay, that's interesting. I feel like it's going to be a bit more difficult to judge now, because when we look at movies that are being nominated for sound mixing and sound editing, sometimes those are separate films. We've seen that example in the past when there are different movies in different categories. So it may change the way that some people vote. Will they look at the sound category and say, it's got music in it? Sound category. We don't know how people are going to vote. And while we've seen the same winner in both categories before, this past year, Ford v. Ferrari took one, 1917 took one, so obviously they're 2 different categories. So combining those into one may cause some uproar with some fans. I don't necessarily know how to feel about it yet, but it's going to cause less confusion, so that's a positive. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of these things down below. Are you okay with the fact that streaming movies coming out during this time span will now be eligible for the Academy Awards this year, and the fact that they changed an entire category or categories and combined the sound categories into one thing? Still no stunt work. I'm going to keep harping on that. I need you guys in the comments down below. Like I said, I appreciate you for watching this video. If you like these Oscar updates, leave that thumbs up button down below. That tells me every time we see something like this, we'll try to cover it on this channel. Bear with me, because just a little number, but I appreciate you guys for watching once again, and I'll see you soon.